Bizarre Brain Comics. Aha! Once again, the Dark Librarian is here for Bizarre Brain Comics, where I tell you tales of terror. And this time, I'm going to have a look at the lighter side. This is from Bongo Comics, Bart Simpson's Treehouse of Horror. This is number 11 from, what year was this? 2005, I think it was. Yes. 2005. Bart Simpson's Treehouse of Horror. A long tradition. And here now to consult the big book of knowledge. The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror. And these were special episodes of The Simpsons, the animated series. They're Halloween specials. And the first was aired on October 25th, 1990. And they are episodes outside normal series continuity, featuring spooky segments featuring the regular cast in horror or sci-fi settings. There have been 31 episodes in total to date. From what I understand, they're supposed to have another one this month. And the Simpsons comic book from Bongo Comics have followed suit with an annual issue done in the same manner as the animated episodes. Yes. Since we're coming upon October, the Halloween month, this Dark Librarian's going to get a lot of use. So let's take a little look into Bart Simpson's Treehouse of Horror. Here we go. Yes, with the Treehouse of Horror. They have had numerous other issues of this. Here's an example of another one. This one is being taken a riff on Mars Attacks. They usually have a theme. I only have a few of these. I'm not even sure if Bongo is still publishing the Simpsons comic book. I don't remember seeing any new ones in recent years, but that doesn't mean anything. And here we have featuring a demented crop of marvelously monstrous horror masters, paying a little tribute to both DC and Marvel horror comics in the form here of, with creators Marv Wolfman, Gene Colan, Len Wein, and Bernie Wrightson. Unfortunately now Marv Wolfman is the only one of these creators still living. And but one extra treat. This is a flip book. Has some other adventures on the other side, in which is paid tribute to the EC comics of the 1950s. That's EC, Entertaining Comics. And here, take a little look see, and here we go. First outing is the SubBasement of Dracula, which is, of course, a take on Marvel's The Tomb of Dracula, and this is done by the original creators of The Tomb of Dracula, Marv Wolfman, Monstrous Marvy Wolfman, or Marv Wolfman, and Gory Gene Colan. They are the original writer and artist for Tomb of Dracula. And here they did, I like what they did here, is that they just used Gene Colan's original pencils uninked. Some of the other publishers started doing that with Gene Colan's work in the 80s because his pencils were so beautiful and so complete, so tight, that inking them was actually a detriment to the work. Of course, they did ink these images here in the foreground. Maybe not. I'm not sure. Okay, so here, then they use Burns, Mr. Burns from the show as Dracula, with I've suddenly forgotten his name. His sidekick as Renfield, and he's got a plan going. Here he is, just being. They have goofy little gags in there, both sight gags and other stuff. And here, all the regular cast of the Simpsons are playing a part as cast members from the tomb of Dracula, with with Homer here as Van Helsing. And he's still eating donuts and stuff going on a runaway car, almost getting killed. There's Drac going out on the town. He's got a big plan. He's going to be doing stuff, and the vampire killers are being attacked. When they go in there, it's some really beautiful work, even though it's the humorous. Look at that. It's humorous style of the Simpson style. And they're being surrounded by vampires and monsters, and they're just going to town. This is his Gene Colan's unique page layouts and his group scenes and the emotion, the action. Sometimes the action is a little bit muddy as far as being able to clearly see what's going on sometimes, but it's made up for in just sheer beauty. And then here comes Van Helsing right at the last minute to rescue him from Moe's belfry. Haha, yeah. And that was just a distraction because they're still fighting them. Because Dracula has sent monsters to Marge Simpson's house because he needs the ultimate innocent for his plan to take over the world. Oh, yeah. And here they are as to save Marge, wreaking havoc, destroying the monsters, destroying the vampires. And it turns out it wasn't after Marge at all. He was after little Maggie. So they failed. Here in the next one, I'm not going to go into as much detail. This is, what's this? This was drawn by magnificent Bernie Wrightson and written by Len Wein. And their story is Squish Thing. And it is a take on DC's Swamp Thing, which they originally created. And again, the beautiful Bernie Wrightson art with humor. Here, an accident happens. Well, that's not the accident, but it makes Homer wanting to create a lime-flavored beer. And here's his little concoction in an above-ground pool where he's trying to make it. Accident happens. Somebody tries to blow him up, which turns out to be Moe. And he takes a dip in there, and he becomes the Squish Thing. Here he is, the Squish Thing. Moe's after Marge. Squish Thing goes after Moe. And Marge still loves him, even though he's torn Moe from limb. And here he is, a favorite of the kids in the neighborhood. Here we go on the flip side. Now, one of the reasons I had chosen this because the entire issue is a comic book parody. I mean, of horror comics. Specifically horror comics. As I said, specifically DC and Marvel on that side, and specifically EC on this side, as seen here. 2 tickets to heck. And the emphasis on the EC in heck. And the Simpsons are here at a Halloween-themed carnival. Stuff's going on. Directions. And here's a little tribute to the old witch. And they go into this haunted house where, I think this is, what's his name? Captain Willie? Is that his name? I can't remember. And here is where we get into the good stuff. Because this part was drawn, no, not yet. This is still different. He's still in the fun house. Funny stuff going on. When Krusty is a kind of a vampire. A tribute to the Vault Keeper. And Maggie has to save Bart. Just no stopping him. Just no stopping him. And they're running around in there. And here's where it goes. They go through these special doors, which takes them into other dimensions. And now this is a segment drawn by John Severin, the late great John Severin, who was an EC artist. And he's in, and this is Bart Simpson, Midget, Commando, again with regular cast members as the main figures. Fighting a war, World War II. Bart has to help by climbing up through the sewer pipes to get into the German stronghold. Yeah, then wham, stuff going on. Meanwhile, looks like Bart bit it there, but not. Meanwhile, Lisa goes through another door, and she goes into, still drawn by John Severin, Shock, Suspense, Simpsons take on the Shock Suspense stories. And even here, this is kind of neat. And I can't have some of the other Simpsons characters, but it also has here's the Vault Keeper, the Old Witch, and the Crypt Keeper. And I'm sure some of these other faces are people of dealing with EC, but I don't recognize them, but they're obviously portraits. Dealing with some shocking crime, weird stuff going on. Maggie's drawn into the middle, and Lisa's drawn into the middle of it, and just then, Bart gets, from that explosion, is blasted into this world, saves Maggie. They take off in a UFO that was hidden in Hangar 13 as opposed to Hangar 18. And then here, got different writing and art styles, because this is drawn by, I have to go back to the inside cover, because Blast from the Future Past, and it's drawn by Mark Schultz and drawn by Al Williamson. Now, Mark Schultz is best known for his work on Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, which he created. But his art style is very, very similar to Frank Frazetta, who was an EC artist. And then it is inked by the late Al Williamson, who was also an EC artist. And goes zipping through, and this is kind of a riff on an actual EC story. They land on this busted up asteroid, find this old comic, which happens to be the one that we're reading. Has these notice they're on very Wally Wood style spacesuits. And then they're approached by some aliens who are very Wally Wood looking aliens. And here the stuff going on in the comic, it's exactly what's going on in their life. And this neat close-up of these aliens and the comic that they're holding. And then out of nowhere, even here, Squatront, which was a frequent phrase used in the EC sci-fi comics. Squatront, actually it's Squatront, and the other one was Spaffon. Let's see if they use that. And here's Homer, just coming in through a doorway in space, taking a leak because he thinks he's in the bathroom, and the kids follow him back to the amusement park and look at the comic, and here everyone is in heck. Here they all are, the whole cast, in the comic, in heck. That's fun. I did the whole thing just because it's fun, it's lighthearted. and it pays tribute to the horror comics of ages past. And it was great that they got the original creators to work on it, especially since most of them are now gone. And that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And so that's all I got for you. Just a brief cap of those stories. Some great artwork, even though it's in the humorous Simpsons style. And same way with the stories. That's just sheer fun and paying tribute to these comics of the past. So hit like if you liked it. I hope you did. Share it with other comic book people, your friends. And remember, comics are art.